So we're going to proceed here with academic writing, and we'll continue from steps of the writing process. What are some of the steps that we have to follow when writing? So I'll put them. The first step, step one, you need to make sure that you get to think. So this is in pre-writing. So the main aim of pre-writing before writing is you get to think. Apart from that, we have got a second step, step 2. In here you have drafting. You get to draft. So write something, put something down, jot something down. And then step 3, you have got now revising. So in the revising, here it is just make it better. And then now we've got step 4. So in step 4, what is involved? So in step 4, this is just getting to proofread. So in proofreading, make it correct. And then also step 5, which is even the last step. In step 5, publishing. So now publish your work when you are done doing everything. So this is share finished work. Now, what happens in each of these stages that you've put down here? Now, when we get to start in pre-writing, this is where we get to think. The first thing is decide a topic. So you need to make sure that you decide a topic. What am I going to write about? Consider who will read. So you need to look at who the reader is going to be. Because imagine you are writing to this group of intellectuals. You start you start talking about cartoons. You write about cartoons. What is that going to help them? These are people who have got knowledge. They are busy people. So consider who is going to read your writing. So you need to look at the audience and also brainstorm ideas about the subject. Okay. So what about brainstorming now? So to brainstorm is just to record ideas without revising. So just record ideas. Just record them down so that you might not forget without revising. There is no need of you revising. The main aim is so that you not just get to forget those ideas. And then identify and list places most likely to yield information. So identify and list places most likely to yield information, and also conduct the research from those places that you've found out that they can yield information. So conduct a research. That is one important thing here. So that is in the pre-writing, before writing. These are something that you need to develop a topic, know the reader or the audience, get to record your writings, and also make a research on that subject. And then after that, now in step 2, you get to draft. So put the information from the research in your own words. So put them in 2 words. Very, very important. Into writing. So write sentences and paragraphs even if they are not perfect. Just write something. Make sure that you just put something down. And then read what you have written and judge if it says what you mean. So judge. Does it say what you mean? At times you might be meaning something else, but what you've written is talking about something else. Remember, as you get to write, you are writing also English. And English has got different things. Okay? So if you say, I met him when he went to smoke. I met him when he went smoking. So those are 2 different things. I met him when I met him when he went to smoke. I met him when he went smoking. So they are different things. That is why we need to interpret. Does what I say and what I've written and what I'm meaning the same? Is it the same? So if they are not the same, well, make sure that you get to do something that will be in the revising stage, which is down, and also show it to others. That is in the drafting stage. So when you make a draft, show to others. They just get to say a word before get to revise it. Maybe it is better, maybe you need to add this and this. And then now in the revising, make it better. So you need to read what you have written again. So read for a second time. Think about what others said. Remember, you showed to others. So think about what others said. What do I need to include of what they said? What do I need to put better? And then rearrange words. If there are some words that are not in the right order, so make sure that you get to rearrange the words. Write them in the right order. Make sure that they are presented in the logical order. And then read your writing aloud to be sure it flows smoothly. Again, you need to read aloud to make sure that it flows smoothly. Remember, the first read here I put is read what you have written. Before this read, which is after you've thought and also rearrange the words and also revise, you've made it better. And then now you have got proofreading, that is make it correct. You've made it better, but make it correct. So in proofreading, be sure all sentences are complete. Subject and verbs agree. Subject and verb agreement is very, very important. If you are saying the pupils is here, says subject verb, are they agreeing? The pupils is here. The pupils are here. Make sure that the subject and the verbs are agreeing. So very, very important in that. And also make sure that the spellings are also correct. Capitalization of every proper noun and the beginning of the sentence, and punctuations are fine. And also change words that are not used correctly. For example, you're supposed to use there, but you used there. So make sure that you get to change words which are not correctly used. And then ask someone to check your work, because you might just get to make a mistake. As you get to write, you might get familiar with these things and get to think as if they're correct. So ask someone to help you. And also recopy it correctly and neatly. So you need to recopy correctly and neatly. And also references are cited properly. Proper citation, very much important. You need to have references of where you got the data which are correctly cited. That is proofreading. And then you have got now your publishing. So publishing is just to share what you've done already. So read your writing aloud to a group, create a book of your work, and then put your writing on display. Maybe everyone can be able to buy, everyone can be able to get. So then you are done with your writing. So that is about the steps of writing. Pre-writing, think. Drafting, write. Revising, make it better. Proofreading, make it correct. And then publish, share your finished work. And then now we have got editing and proofreading. What is editing and what is proofreading? What's the difference though? They seem the same. So the process of editing and proofreading ensures coherence, flow, clarity, and unity in academic writing. So for you to be able to edit and just proofread, you need to make sure that you have got clarity. There is unity, there is proper flow. And there is also just that unity in any academic writing. That is when things are able to flow well. Okay. So, one thing, both editing and proofreading are important components of academic writing, but they differ in focus. So, they only differ in focus. So, now, how do we mean if they get to differ in focus? What's the difference between them? So, let's look at them now. So, editing is a broader process. So, this one is more broad. And it is concerned with content. How much have you put? You can remove some things and you can add some things just to make the content heavy. It is also concerned with clarity, to make sure that everything is clear. It is also concerned with logic. Have you written everything in a logical manner? Is it making sense? And it is also concerned with argument. What if someone guess, is this point really correct? Is this point really okay? I think I can remove it. That is about editing. There is a broad understanding. Content, is content deep? Is it enough? Is it clear? Is it logic? Are there some arguments on the content that I've written? Is it acceptable? And also it gets to look at the structure. Is the structure presentation okay? Is the style fine? So that is when it comes to editing. Now when you talk of proofreading, it's the final micro. This process is micro. It is so small. It is concerned with only spellings. It is concerned with punctuations, and it is just concerned with grammar. Just that. Are there some errors in spellings? Is your grammar okay? Is there a proper punctuation? But to edit, you can remove sentences, add sentences, make sure that things are flowing in a logical order. So editing begins with a first draft, and then reread the draft to see whether the paper is well organized, the transitions between paragraphs are smooth, that is, the way we are getting to join paragraphs is fine, and then the evidence backs up the argument. And also edit on several levels, that is content, overall structure, structure within paragraphs, clarity, style, citations, references. Make sure that you get to edit all those. Now, how do we get to edit content? We are saying we need to edit the content. So when we get to look at the content asks the following questions. Is the thesis statement clear and responds logically to the topic? The main point of the topic, is it clear? Does it respond to the topic? Now imagine the topic is let me say he had knack to crack. That's the topic. So this is just talking about this someone who being difficult to change them. Even if they change, they still go back to their behaviors or something like that. And then you start talking about a story that is talking about this motivational speaker. That is your main topic, a motivational speaker. The thesis is different from the subject. So the content talks about the thesis being able to agree with the subject. Is the argument clear and does it support the thesis? What you are arguing about, every statement you make, does it support the main idea? Is the evidence supporting the argument compelling and cited properly? Is it that compelling so that even when someone gets to look at it, they are going to say this is correct? Are there any logical gaps or absences in the argument? So basically look at just the way you've written things. If they are logically presented, that is in the content when you want to edit. Another thing that you look at for you to edit is the structure. Now in the structure, does the introduction include the thesis statement? Just the way you need to write, like the general structure of any composition. In the introduction, remember there's supposed to be a thesis statement. Does the argument follow a logical sentence? Is the evidence clearly linked to the argument in the same paragraph? Are the paragraphs coherently linked by a single main idea? Is the conclusion clear and does not introduce any new argument? In the conclusion, you start talking about something new again. That is away from the structure of a composition. So make sure that everything that is supposed to be done in a structure of a composition is followed. A sentence is supposed to have, a paragraph should have a topic or sentence. Does that have? That is looking at the structure. And also this need for clarity. Now, when you're talking about clarity, are the keywords clearly defined? What are the keywords of this writing? Is the meaning of each sentence clear? So you started running. What are you even saying? Just from nowhere he started running. Is the meaning of the statement clear? So are the most meaningful words chosen to express the ideas? So those are some of the things that you get to look at when you're talking about editing. Editing, that is now the clarity. So you also have the style. You need also to look at the style when you want to edit. So on the style, is the tone of the paper appropriate and consistent? For example, is the tone formal or informal, persuasive or descriptive? If you are describing, make sure that you use description language. or when you are persuading, make sure that the whole tone of the language is persuasive. That is the style that you are writing. Or maybe if it is formal, make sure that you continue being formal. You become informal, formal, you change. No, that's not right. And also, is the language gender sensitive and free of stereotype? So that is the style. Make sure that your style of writing is free from any stereotype. Are the sentences length varied with voice predominantly active? Is the voice coming out even if the sentences are changing, like you have got longer sentences, shorter sentences, but what you are trying to bring out, is it coming out? Is the paper clear of wordness instead of due to the fact that use as or because? So is your paper clear with wordness? You see, you are just using proper words instead of just making using long and words that are not even much useful. Just use short words, but they've got the same meaning, even deeper meanings. Instead of you using due to the fact that in writing, you can use that in speaking. When you're writing, just say, as I was saying, not due to the fact that. That is not necessary. So make sure that the style is clearly seen, and then also citations are very important. So in citations, have you acknowledged the resource where you got the data as you're presenting this academic writing? And have you used your department or school's preferred citation style? Because each school or each department has got its own style. For example, mostly in the DME, we get to use the Harvard referencing style. So are you using that? And also when you paraphrase, you have you sufficiently changed the words from the original yet maintained the idea and cited your source? So make sure even when you paraphrase, like you read this content which was spoken by Isaac Newton, even if you write it in your own words, make sure that it doesn't go from the meaning of what he said, and make sure you get to cite. That is on editing. Now when it comes to proofreading, it means to correct the mistakes in the document regarding spellings, punctuation, sentences, and structure. It is a review of what one has written and is the final stage of the editing process. So proofreading is simply a stage also of editing, but it is the final stage. And you don't correct sentences, you just correct spellings, punctuation, and grammar. So steps to note: use word processors, spelling and grammar check. Spell check will not find all the errors. So you need to use word processors, spell and grammar check. You will see that when you get to write maybe on a laptop or any computer, there are some linings. Maybe you write a word it to be underlined in red, you write a word it to be underlined in blue. Those mean something, so you need to get to check them. So you can use word processors, spell and grammar check. Well, those underlinings at times they might accept some words which are wrong. So that is why you need to now go to the word processor and the grammar check. If you just get to use direct spell check, it might not find all the errors. Like on the spell check where there is underlining, there are some things which are grammatically wrong. They are just corrected when you get to you use the grammar check on your piece. So you need to make sure that anything that is underlined you get to correct it. Some things will not be corrected, but you just make sure that you get to do the grammar check. And also proofread the soft copy. Make sure that you proofread something that you've written just on soft copy that you've not yet published. Make sure you proofread it, and also proofread the hard copy. Switch with a friend so that they can also check, and then make the correct or final changes. Include making visibility appealing. So make sure that anything that is wrong, you get to make sure you correct it. And that is going to be with the proof reading, basically with spellings, punctuations, and also grammar. Well, so in this tutorial we're going to end here. We're going to continue with other tutorials where we're going to look at the different types of academic writing, such as essays, descriptions, reports, and those. Thank you so much for being present, and stay blessed.